I don't know how people can sit here and tell me that these episodes of Monday Night Raw is great and how Raw is the best show on WWE television. While there are some good matches on the show, good matches doesn't always mean the shows are good. While Raw is much easier to sit through, it still doesn't mean it's a good show in my book. I mean, come on, guys. We're looking at some of the stuff. If I'm looking at some of this stuff, I'd be thinking to myself, man, how do people say these shows are good? We kick off the show with Jey Uso and Logan Paul. How in the world can people look at this and say, yes, this is what I want on my weekly television? A Jey Uso-Logan Paul rivalry. This is not what many people wanted out of Jey Uso following his victory at WrestleMania over Gunther. And then Gunther basically goes ahead and says that maybe Logan Paul becoming world champion is what's best for business. Are you completely dense? Are you completely dense? Why are you going to script Gunther to say that? You're going to script Gunther to say, actually, maybe Logan Paul becoming world heavyweight champion is what's best for business. Are you really going to script Gunther to say something that completely stupid? Seriously, that is completely ridiculous. They seem to tease Seth Rollins and Gunther. I'm not sure why they're teasing it. They're both heels. I guess maybe Gunther might turn babyface. I don't know. But regardless of that, but regardless, I saw that little tension there. And the Judgment Day battled AJ Styles and Penta. And once again, El Grande Americano is involved once again. I'm sorry, guys, but I love Chad Gable. I have always been one of Chad Gable's biggest supporters, and I think he's a great wrestler. But I am so sick of this El Grande Americano gimmick. This gimmick is trash. And people want to say what Vince McMahon did to him was bad by calling him Shorty G. I'm sorry, but El Grande Americano is worse than Shorty G. Is worse. And the first mid-card title, the first title that Chad Gable wins, the first singles title he wins, is on a program called WWE Speed. How in the world can you look at this? And people are now turning on Chad Gable. All I've seen on social media is how people are now saying, oh, they're sick of seeing Chad Gable. Yeah, they're sick of Chad Gable because Triple H has booked him and put him in a stupid gimmick that people do not want to see. People do not want to see Chad Gable under a freaking mask calling himself El Grande Americano and running around with a title that doesn't even exist on television. This is trash. This is trash. But Monday Night Raw is the best show. It's the most watchable. It's the most watchable show and easy. It's the best show on WWE television weekly. Get out of here. Get out of town. Sure, AJ Styles and Penta may have had a great match with Finn Balor and the Judgment Day, but just because the match was good doesn't mean it is good. Doesn't make the show good. It's ridiculous to me. Yes, Finn Balor finally got a win. But, you know, we're almost halfway through the year, and I still remember that report at the start of the year, or even by the end of the year. I still remember seeing that report that said 2025 is going to be the year of Finn Balor. We still haven't reached, and it's still not the year of Finn Balor yet. It's still not his year yet. We're almost halfway through the year, and he's barely done anything. This is utter garbage, man. This is utter garbage. Please end the El Grande Americano gimmick. Please. I am so sick of this. I am so sick of this rivalry. Not just this rivalry, but this gimmick. This gimmick is terrible. I hate it, and I wish they just have Chad Gable be himself. instead of just putting him under a stupid mask and trying to treat us like we're idiots, as if Chad Gable and El Grande Americano are completely two different people. We are not stupid. And if you do buy into this crap that El Grande Americano and Chad Gable are completely two different people, then clearly you're the same people that believed Elias and Ezekiel were two different people. You're probably the same people that probably thought Elias and Ezekiel were two different people. We finally get something good on the show, that being Becky Lynch, Natalya, and Roxanne in a Money in the Bank qualifying match. As usual, the women are always the best thing on the shows, because I've always said this all the damn time, the women literally make these shows, man. They literally make these shows bearable. So Becky, Natty, and Roxanne have a decently fine match. They have a decent little match. Very fun. Lyra Valkyria ultimately screws Becky Lynch out of the Money in the Bank qualifying, which makes sense. Which makes perfect sense. And to my shocking surprise, Roxanne Perez finally got a win. About freaking time. About freaking time. Roxanne Perez got a win on the main roster. This is like, what, her second win on the main roster? Or maybe her third? Yeah, I think this is her third win on the main roster, because she beat Raquel to qualify. Then she won a 6-woman's tag by pinning Bayley. That was when Alexa Bliss attacked her on a SmackDown episode. And then this. So hopefully they have Julia qualify in her match when she fights Charlotte Flair and Zelina Vega. But I'm fully expecting Charlotte to win, because lol, Charlotte always wins. So, yeah, Becky and Lyra are going to continue their feud. That makes perfect sense. And, yeah, so everything that just happened here made perfect sense. Finally, something enjoyable. Sheamus and Grayson Waller, man. Man, I feel bad for Grayson. I don't know why they continue to book him this way, but... And then for some reason, the fans start cheering for Austin Theory. And here I was saying, oh, I thought it was going to be impossible for fans to cheer for Austin Theory. And then all over social media, and I saw this all over social media, that because the fans were starting to cheer for Austin Theory, they now think, oh, this is the perfect time to turn him babyface, because the fans are now cheering him. It was just one town. It was just one town, guys. It was just one town, guys. It was just one town. If this keeps up in every other town, then maybe it would be perfect time. But even still, I still can't buy Austin Theory as a babyface, even if the fans cheer him. Same thing with Dominic. I don't buy him as a babyface, even though the fans cheer the guy. Just because the fans cheer them doesn't mean that they are likable. Speaking of that, boy oh boy, let's get on to this, and I'm not a fan of this either. Finn Balor brings Roxanne Perez into the Judgment Day locker room, clubhouse, or whatever they bloody call it. And then Roxanne gives presents to Dominic and the Judgment Day members, and I don't know why Americans call what Roxanne gave Dominic tendrils? Tendrils? I think that's what they were called. But in my country, in Australia, we call those chicken nuggets. In my country, we call those chicken nuggets. So Roxanne hands Dominic some chicken nuggets. I'm not a fan of this. I am not a fan of this at all. Roxanne should not be a member of the Judgment Day. How in the world do you bring someone to the main roster and your first instinct is to say, yeah, put him with the Judgment Day. Put her in the Judgment Day. She doesn't look goth. She's not a goth girl. She doesn't look gothic. She doesn't look gothic, but put her in the Judgment Day. I'm not a fan of this. Roxanne should not be a part of the Judgment Day in any capacity. But this is Triple H. The Triple H Paul Levesque era. The man that we all supposed to be trusting in. The man we should all be following and having faith in. If you're saying, if you're going to tell me, oh, I would have put Roxanne Perez in the Judgment Day as your response, then you're also an idiot. Roxanne should not be in a faction with anybody. She should not be in a faction. She should be a solo wrestler climbing up the ranks. She should be climbing up the ranks in the singles division of the women's division. Not trying to take Liv Morgan's place as the female member of the Judgment Day. And because of this whole Dominic Mysterio is getting cheered bullcrap, this is now most likely leading into Liv Morgan possibly turning babyface as well. And honestly, I'm not really a fan of that either. And listen, I know some of you may be saying, but Patrick, Liv Morgan's a likable character. Yes. When she turned heel 2 years ago, that's what I said. I'm like, oh, Liv Morgan's too likable. I can't see her as a heel. But Liv Morgan proved me wrong. She's a great heel. Liv Morgan proved me wrong. She proved me wrong. She proved that she can be a very great heel. I just do not agree with this. I just do not agree with this. If you agree with this, then good for you. But I just do not agree with this at all. This is completely garbage. You can't sit here and tell me what Triple H is doing here makes perfect sense. You cannot. It doesn't make any sense at all. I know I want the Judgment Day to break up, but having Liv Morgan and Dominic become the outcasts of the Judgment Day, turning them face, kicking them out of the Judgment Day, while having Roxanne and Finn and Raquel and Carlito and JD McDonough remain in the Judgment Day, but then you kick Dominic and Liv out, it just does not work that way for me. It just doesn't work that way for me. I would much rather Finn Balor get kicked out so that he can turn babyface. But no, the stupid fans would rather cheer for Dominic, so that's obviously making Triple H change his plans. I'm sorry. I will just not cheer for Dominic. I am not cheering for this guy. Nothing he has done has made me want to like this guy. Nothing Dominic has done has made me go, yes, this guy's great. Yes, I've praised his work as a heel. But that doesn't make me go, oh, he's such a great heel that I cheer him. He's a great heel because I hate him and I boo him. But no. They seem to now be going down the line of turning Dominic and Liv Morgan into baby faces. And it's definitely something I'm not that big of a fan of. Maybe I can let it slide on Liv turning face, but not Dom. Maybe I can live with it with Liv, but because, Liv is a great babyface. But no, I just do not buy into this at all. I think Liv and Dom should both remain heels, and Roxanne should be someone that, should be on her own and climb up the ranks to possibly win Money in the Bank. But, that's not what Triple H thinks, brother. So after this, we then get another women's qualifying match. This one is Rhea Ripley, Zoe Stark, and the returning Kairi Sane. Now listen, it's nice to see Kairi Sane back, and Zoe Stark still cannot get a pop from the crowd. But I will say this, Zoe Stark took a nasty injury, and I'm not going to say anything negative here. I never really like anyone getting injured. Even if it is someone I am not a fan of, I do not like seeing people get injured. It looked really nasty. It looked really bad. That does suck for Zoe. I will wish her regards on a speedy recovery, but that just sucks, and that just sucks, and that's just how wrestling is. And I'm pretty sure fans are going to find some way to either blame this on Rhea Ripley or just blame someone else in general, because we all know how the fans work. Someone always has to be pointed the finger at. It's always going to be the finger has to be pointed at somebody in the eyes of the fans. It was nice to see Kairi back. Rhea and Kairi had a really good back and forth here. I actually would not mind seeing these two fight each other more often, because this was a really good match. But Rhea Ripley ultimately qualifies for the Money in the Bank and to go into the Money in the Bank ladder match. So it's Rhea, Alexa, and Roxanne at the moment that are going into the Money in the Bank ladder match. Again, as I said before, I'm really hoping for Julia to win her qualifying match on SmackDown, but I've got a feeling it's probably going to be Charlotte, because, lol, Charlotte wins. So Jey Uso and Bron Breakker's match ends in a disqualification because, of course, you're not going to have World Heavyweight Champion Jey Uso take a pinfall loss, and you're not going to have Bron Breakker take a pinfall loss. This ends in a disqualification. CM Punk and Sami Zayn come down to brawl because, they're feuding with Seth Rollins and Bron Breakker. And so the show ends with Logan Paul laying out Jey Uso after CM Punk and Sami Zayn ignite a brawl between Seth Rollins and Bron Breakker. So not only we kicked off the show with Jey Uso and Logan Paul, we are now ending the show with Jey Uso and Logan Paul. Absolute trash. Absolute trash. Absolute garbage. The women, once again, were the only good thing on the show. It is a real darn shame for me. It is a real darn shame that I continue to say this all the time when it comes to, these Raw reviews, that I always say the women are the only good thing on the shows. Because again, the men, they just give me nothing. They just give me nothing to enjoy. And I thought this Seth Bron Breakker faction could have been something. I thought this whole faction with Seth and Bron could have been interesting, could have been good. They could have gotten more members. But considering that many reports are saying that there's going to be no more people added to the faction, disappoints me. It disappoints me that they're not going to be adding any more people. So, yeah, to me it's ultimately disappointing. To me it really took away what kind of excitement I had. Because, again, I had a lot of theories and added additional ideas of who they could add to Seth's group. But instead they're just like, nope, Bron Breakker's the only person they're going to be including. And there's going to be nobody else. So, and considering that they seem to be building to Seth Rollins and Jey Uso possibly fighting again for the World Heavyweight title, you might as well just get ready to have Seth Rollins cash in, probably either win Money in the Bank again. He'll either qualify into the Money in the Bank, or he'll probably just challenge for the title and then just win. Because there's no way in hell that John Cena is going to get cashed in on. I just cannot see that being a possibility. I just cannot see anyone cashing in on John Cena. Considering that he's barely around, considering he's barely around, it just makes it very clear to me that Jey Uso is going to be the obvious guy they're going to cash in on. Unless they just pull an Austin Theory and just have someone cash in on the mid-card title, which that would just be completely and utter stupid. But anyway, guys, thank you all for watching this Raw review. Thank you all for listening, and I will see you all next time.